Hello dear students, hope you are doing well and you are fit and fine at home. So first of all, welcome to class 11th, and from today we are going to start our online classes for you. Hope you will enjoy the online classes and you will pay proper attention and understand the chapters. If you have books you have arranged of 11th standard, that's very good, but if you don't have, for time being for this month you can download these chapters from NCERT or CBSE websites. When we talk about English, basically we have two books in English. First one is Hornbill and second one is Snapshot. We have grammar portion also, grammar syllabus also, that also come in your exams. So today we are going to start the first chapter from Hornbill book, that is The Portrait of a Lady, written by Khushwant Singh. In this chapter, basically Khushwant Singh, the writer, tells about his relationship with his grandmother, the type of bond they share. So let me start it now. Some expressions are also written before the chapter starts. These are very important. These words will come in between the chapter. You have to pay attention and understand the meaning of this. And it doesn't matter which stream you are going to take. You are going to take science, humanities, or commerce, any stream, but English will be same in all the streams, so you should pay attention. My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. She had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even had a husband, but that was hard to believe. So writer says, my grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman. So everybody's grandmothers are generally, they are old only, everybody's grandmother, and she had been old and wrinkled for 20 years that I had known her. So the writer says from 20 years, maybe after when he was born, his grandmother would be old only, and he says from last 20 years I see the same thing, she is old. People said that she had once been young, pretty, and had even had a husband. So people, writer's parents must be saying, and people must be saying that she was young and pretty also, but he said it was hard to believe because he was watching his grandmother for last 20 years. She was same, so she could not be pretty or she could not be beautiful. The writer did not believe in that. My grandmother's portrait hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. Mantelpiece means the fireplace, above the fireplace on the wall. Grandfather's portrait photo was there. He wore a big turban and loose-fitting clothes. So grandfather's photo was there above the mantelpiece, and he said he wore a big turban. Turban means all you know, and loose-fitting clothes. His long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. He said my grandfather's photo was there hanging above the mantelpiece. He wore a turban and he wore long fitting clothes, and his beard was so long it covered part of his chest also, and he looked how many years old? 100 years old. He did not look the sort of person who would have a wife or a children. He said whenever I used to see my grandfather's photo hanging on the wall, I could never believe that he would have children also, and he looked like he is 100 years old. He said we could not believe that he would have a wife also and children also. He looked as if he could only have lots and lots of grandchildren, because in photo also, in portrait also, he must be looking very old. So writer says we never thought of he would have children also and wife also. He would have been young also in his age. We only could think that he would have so many grandchildren. As for my grandmother being young and pretty, the thought was almost revolting. So see, he said, whenever I think that my grandmother would have been young and pretty, that thought was almost revolting. Revolting means unbelievable. We can't believe. He said we can never believe that my grandmother would have been young and beautiful also. She often told us of the games she used to play as child. Everybody's grandmother or grandfather, when you sit with them, you talk to them, you discuss with them, they tell the stories and the tales of their young ages. They tell that when they were children, how they used to play, and also same thing writer's grandmother was also telling. that seemed quite absurd, undignified on her part, and we treated it like the fables of the prophets she used to tell us. And he said it was kind of absurd, means we could not believe that our grandmother also used to play in the childhood. And these we treated it like the fables of the prophets she used to tell us. He said it was like the stories told to us by the messenger or priest, or you can say messenger from the god. We could never believe in these things. We used to take them like stories. She had always been short and fat and slightly bent. She was short and she was fat and slightly bent because it happens in the old age. Her face was crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. And in the old age, you must have seen your grandmother and grandfathers. They have so many wrinkles in the face. There are so many lines in the face from all the direction, straight also, slanting also, from everywhere. No, we were certain she had always been as we had known her. But writer says no, we were certain she had always been as we had known her. So writer says that we used to think she would be same always as I know her. Old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older. Is that she is very much old. She is so old that we cannot imagine or we cannot think of she will get more older. And had stayed at the same age for 20 years. And says she had stayed for the same age for 20 years. Because writer wants to tell you that when he was born, his grandmother was old, and still she is old. She is same. So he used to think that my grandmother would be old forever. She would never be young. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Now she could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Now see, pretty and beautiful. Generally we think that pretty and beautiful, they are same thing, pretty and beautiful. But here writer wants to say that she could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Pretty, here in the chapter, pretty is taken for the outer beauty. Pretty, because writer's grandmother is very old. Her face is also very old, so with so many wrinkles and weak, pale. But and writer thinks that she could never be pretty. Her face could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Beautiful here is for not outer beauty, for inner beauty. He says my grandmother is always beautiful, but because generally grandchildren, they love their grandmothers very much and they feel that she is very beautiful from inside. She hobbled about the house in spotless white, with one hand resting on her waist to balance a stoop and the other telling the beads of her rosary. So she hobbled. Hobbled means when we are not able to walk properly, and she also used to walk like that, and in a spotless white dress, and one hand resting on her waist to balance a stoop and the other telling the beads of rosary. So one hand she would keep on her back on to balance her walking and all. Waist she would keep her one hand in the waist, and another one she would have a rosary in her hand. Rosary means that beads. Her silver locks were scattered untidily on her pale, puckered face. He said silver locks. Silver locks means here hair. Okay, her silver color hair. Hair also was silver color. Were scattered. They were here and there on her pale, puckered face. Puckered face means wrinkled face. And her lips constantly move in inaudible prayer. And she used to say the prayer which was inaudible. Yes, she was beautiful. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains. And the writer says, though she was very old, she had so many wrinkles in her face, but still she was beautiful. How beautiful? She was like the winter landscape in the mountains. So writer has used simile here to compare grandmother's beauty with the winter landscape in the mountains. That looks very beautiful. An expansion of pure wise serenity, breathing peace and contentment. How does it look? Suppose you are in a hilly area and winter, you see everywhere in mountains and all, it's covered with snow. It's white. And how nice, how beautiful it looks. Very calm. It looks very beautiful. It looks very peaceful. And contentment, satisfactory. So satisfaction everywhere whenever you see mountains in winter. So she was like that, an expansion of pure white serenity, because her dress was also white, her hair also was white, and otherwise also she was very pure and peaceful. So writer is comparing her grandmother like this. My grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. So he said, my grandmother and me, we were best friends, and I was with my grandmother when my parents left me. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. She said her morning prayers in a monotonous sing-song while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. So he said she used to wake me up in the morning and get ready to school, and every time she would say, every morning she would say her prayer in monotonous. Monotonous means boring, can be sing song while she bathed and dressed me in the hope that I love her voice but never bother to learn it. And when she used to sing the prayer in the morning in front of me, getting me ready and doing everything, she used to think that I will also learn them by heart. But writer say, I listened because I loved her voice but never bothered to learn it. He said, I used to listen her prayer but I never thought of learning it. Then she would fetch me wooden slate which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a tiny earthen ink pot and a red pen. He said, after that, when I would be ready to go to school, she would give me my slate, which is clean nicely and plastered with the yellow chalk. Then she would give me one tiny earthen ink pot and red pen, tie them all in a bundle and hand it to me. So earlier in early days, when children used to go to school, they don't have pen and copy or something which everything we have. They used to start it with a slate and writing in them with a chalk or ink pot. So she would hand over all the things to write. After breakfast of a thick stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. After that, she would give me stale chapati. Stale means not fresh, and butter and sugar she would spread in that, and then we go to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dog. And writer says she used to take few chapatis for the village dog also. So this is enough for today. Rest we'll do tomorrow. Hope you must have understood. If you have any confusion, if you have any problem, or you're not getting anything, feel free to contact and ask any question. So we have done in last stanza how writer and his grandmother used to live together, and how she used to help his grandson in all the work. Even she used to wake him up in the morning and get ready for school. So let us start the next stanza. My grandmother always went to school with me because the school was attached to the temple. So every day in the morning when writer used to go to school, grandmother also would go with him because there was a temple near his school. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayers. The priest of the temple used to teach them alphabet and morning prayers. While the children sat in row on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in chorus, my grandmother sat inside reading the scripture. So he said children used to sit there in rows in the veranda, and they used to sing alphabet or prayer in chorus. Chorus means group of singers together. When everybody sings together, that is known as chorus. My grandmother sat inside reading the scripture, and my grandmother used to sit inside reading the scripture, the holy books. Children used to sing song or prayers and sing alphabets, and grandmother used to read holy books. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door, and village dog every day used to wait for them in temple door because they knew that grandmother will bring chapati for them. They followed us to our home, rolling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. So till now, writer used to live with his grandmother, and his parents used to live in the city. And when they settled down comfortably in the city, they asked both of them also to come to city. And he said that was a turning point. Turning point means, what is turning point? When your life changes. There is a point in life when everything changes. So he said that was a turning point in our friendship. Whose friendship? Grandmother and grandson's friendship. Although we share the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me because now they have changed. They have gone to city. That was village. Grandmother also used to accompany her grandson for school, but now he was in city. He went to a different school, so grandmother could not go with him. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. Now, this writer Khushwant Singh, he is telling about his childhood. He used to go in an English school and in bus. There were no dogs in the street, and she took to feeding sparrow in the courtyard of our city house. He said there were no dogs, so grandmother could not feed any dog. She used to feed sparrows. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. When I came back, she would ask me what the teacher had taught me. So now they did not have much time to talk to each other. Though they were living in the same room, but Rafter would be busy with his all this stuff. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning. So whenever he used to come back from the school, sometimes she used to ask, "What did you study at home?" And I used to say I will learn some English words and things of Western science and law of gravity, Archimedes principle, and the world being around. So different things he used to tell his grandmother. This made her unhappy. She could not help me with my lesson. And grandmother used to feel very bad about this because she could not help him. She did not believe in the things they taught at the English school and was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scripture. And why she used to feel bad? Because he was learning everything in English and she was not feeling good because in school they are not teaching about religious thing, about God and scripture. One day I announced that we were being given music lessons. She was very disturbed. To her, music had lewd association. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars and not meant for gentle folk. So one day he said that we are going to start our music lesson. So she was very much upset that day. Because why she was upset? Because she said that music is not made for gentle people and for the gentle family. It is only made for people those who are beggars. Okay, those were lower caste people. She said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval. She really talked to me after that, and after that, she did not talk to him. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own. The common link of friendship was snapped. Now school is over, he went to university and he had a different room. Now friendship was almost snapped, broken. My grandmother accepted her seclusions with resignation. Accepted her seclusion means she did not complain, she did not say anything, but quietly she accepted these all the things. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. Now she was busy in her spinning wheel. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayer. Only in the afternoon she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrow. So from morning till evening she was busy in a spinning wheel, and only in afternoon she used to relax and feed to sparrow. While she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirrupings. So he said, while she used to sit in veranda and breaking the piece of the bread, making them small, so many veritable bedlam of chirrupings. Chirrupings means here for sparrows. So many sparrows will come and they will make a group around grandmother. Some came and perched on her legs, others on her shoulders. So many chirrupings means chirruping is used for the sparrow. They will come, they would sit around her. Some will sit on her legs, some will sit on her shoulder, some will even sit on her head. She smiled but never shooed them away. Always she used to smile but never send them away from there. It used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. So that was the best half hour for her. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. He knew that if I wanted to go to abroad for study, my grandmother will not feel good because they shared a very good bond with each other, and if he will not be there, she will feel very bad. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, one could never tell. But my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station, but did not talk or show any emotion. And now she did not show anything. She went to railway station to see off, but she did not speak. Her lips moved in prayers. She was just saying her prayer. Her mind was lost in prayer. Her fingers were busy telling the beads of rosary. She had rosary in her hand. She was counting that rosary and she was chanting her prayer. Silently she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the most imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So very emotional scene it is. Grandmother, she was feeling very bad, but she could not tell him because he was going to study. And he said that was the last physical touch between both of us was when she kissed my forehead. But that was not so. After 5 years, I came back home and was met by her at the station. She did not look a day older. He said, but after 5 years, I came back home. She was same. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me in her arms, I could hear her reciting her prayer. Still, when she holded me in her arm, she was reciting the prayer. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrow, whom she fed longer and frivolous rebuks. Frivolous rebuks mean scolding lovingly, you can see. The sparrow used to come to her. She would scold them also. She would love them also. And she would be happy with them. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum and started to sing. So now what evenings were changed now. She used to go to neighborhood with her all friends and she started singing. For several hours off, she thumbed the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum. Dilapidated drum means already that not in good condition, and she used to beat that drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. Homecoming of the warriors. She used to sing song like that. We had to pursue her to stop to avoid overstraining. And writer say we used to tell her, don't overstrain yourself, just stop it. That was the first time since I had known her that she did not pray. The next morning she was taken ill. It was a mild fever and the doctor told us that it would go. But my grandmother thought differently. She told us that her end was near. So after that, in one morning, she had little bit fever, took him to doctor and doctor said it will go. But grandmother said that no, this is my end is near. She said that since only a few hours before the close of the last chapter of her life, she had omitted to pray. She was not going to waste any more time talking to us. Now she knew that her last time is near and she said, I don't want to speak to anyone, I don't want to talk to anyone, I just want to say prayers. We protested, but she ignored our protest. She lay peacefully in bed praying and telling her beads. So the family members must have said, no, you can't do that, talk to us. But she said, no, I will not talk. She said, she was laying in her bed and she was praying and counting the beads. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless finger. So this was the last time of his grandmother. She was continually saying prayer and then she became lifeless. Her lips also stopped and she stopped moving rosary also. A peaceful pallor spread on her face and we knew that she was dead. And she looked so peaceful and everybody knew that she was dead. We lifted her off the bed and as is customary laid her on the ground and covered her with a red straw. After a few hours of mourning, we left her alone and make arrangements for her funeral. So he said we put her on the ground as custom says and with the red color cloth we covered her face and went to make the arrangements. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. So after that, stretcher was taken here there to bring her out from there. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. The sun was setting there and there was a golden light in a veranda. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda and in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff wrapped in the red shawl. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. So they saw that when they were all around where grandmother was laying down, there were so many sparrows. There was no chirping. We felt sorry for the birds and my mother fed some bread for them. They were not making any noise. They were just sitting quietly. This writer's mother brought some bread. She broke it into little crumb the way my grandmother used to do. And mother made a small piece of the bread like my grandmother used to do and threw it to them. The sparrow looked no notice of the bread, but they did not looked at the bread. They did not notice it. When we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. And when they took grandmother for funeral, The sparrows also flew quietly. Next morning, the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. And next morning, the sweeper cleaned it and thrown into dustbin. So like this, Gregor's grandmother left the word, and the bond between them, the love between them, can be seen in the chapter. Like grandmother used to love her grandson very much. She used to do so many things for him, and when he left for this studies, she felt bad also, but did not speak anything, did not say anything. And at last she left everybody, and she knew that this is my end, but she was just saying the prayer and she left. This happened, the people, those who have lost their grandmother, their grandfather, they can understand this feeling, and they can even recognize what happens when we have to leave the person or people we love the most. So this is the end of the chapter. Hope you must have understood. If any doubt, any problem, you can contact.